Hello. And so the problem is, I'm trying to.
In the last 5 years, and I believe that it's high time for there to be collaboration.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hi, Mrs. Lisa. Are you on here with us? Mr. Caesar. Mr.
Hello.
Caesar.
Can you hear me? Hello. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but I think the fault is from your
Okay,
end.
very well then. So good to have you.
Can you hear
We've
me?
been expecting you for a while now. So good to have you.
What can I do? Hello. Hey, can it be my network? Hello. Hello.
Hello, are you with me?
I can hear you, but I'm wondering why you guys can't hear me there.
Yeah, it's sort of echoing down here is why. But if you
But can you
can
hear
hear
me?
me, it's so good to have you on here with us.
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, beautiful then. So everybody, I think I've introduced Mr. Caesar to an extent. Okay, so Mr. Caesar will tell us a little about himself before he takes over this particular session with us. So, Mr. Caesar, good to meet you again. I was once I attended one of the programs you organized at Ikeja around Oregon side. I don't really remember now. I was a student of yours at the time. I know you may not know me. You are popular now. You're a celebrity, so everybody knows you, but you won't know me now. So good to have you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Please tell us a little about yourself before you take over the program.
Okay, so I don't know if you already told them my name is Adetunji, and I'm a freelancer. I'm also I'm a brand strategist. I design. I'm an illustrator, and I've worked for several organizations, and I've been in the design business now for 12 years, and next year will make me 13 years in this business. And I'm married to just only one wife because I had to keep what the God said. And I have 2 kids, but if God permits, we'll make it 3. So that's just all I have to say about
Your
myself.
video is turned off.
My
So
video is
please,
turned
can
off.
you turn it on, please?
I'm trying to turn that on. I'm so sorry for making you guys go through all this because I checked everything before we started today's OBS. Okay, let's see what OBS is going to show me. I'm coming. I'm trying to see what's causing the issue. Okay, this is what we're going to do. Let me turn off OBS, and I'm going to use this. Okay, so can you guys see me now? I believe you can see me now, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. How is everybody doing? Okay, so what else do you need to hear from me? I think I've introduced myself.
That's it, actually. So everybody, I'm glad you're happy to have Mr. Caesar with us. He's going to be handling the design masterclass, and then I'm going to be handing over this particular session to him. He's the boss at this. So, Mr. Caesar, over to you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I don't know your name.
I'm Sandra Adege.
Okay, thank you so much, Sandra. And I'm very happy to be part of today's Drive Up conference. And I remember the one we did last year, though Mr. Demola did not really allow me to talk. But this time, I'm happy he said I have 3 hours to handle today's training. So I'm not only going to teach you guys, I'm also going to start a season movie, and I'll tell you guys my bio from beginning to the end. And if you care to buy my CD, don't worry, I'll tell you where to get it. It's not expensive, it's just 5,000 naira. Okay, so today we are going to be working on a project together, and I'm going to be sharing with you one of the what actually inspired this concept. And the artwork is actually for a coffee company, and I saw an advert for a coffee company online, and I saw the title on the design. So the title, that's the caption on the design, is not really connected to what the company did. I would have loved to share the artwork with you, but because I was trying to rush, so I was unable to quickly get the image. So I looked at it and I was like, this message is not strong enough to capture what the message is about. So I decided to come up with my own concept, and I decided to. So after coming up with the concept, I thought of using it to help designers. So what the caption, sorry, I keep using title. What the caption of the design says is that coffee boosts your physical performance. So, and I know that when you take coffee before doing your normal morning exercise, it's going to help you. It's going to give you more energy not to get tired quickly. That's one of the advantages of taking coffee before you do your morning exercise. So I decided to use a picture of a lady jogging and use it as the smoke coming out from the coffee cup. So permit me to share the artwork with you, what we are going to be working on today. Please pardon me, I'm just thinking of so many things at the same time because I know my connection here is not really balanced. So I'm trying to be careful not to make anything go off. But I need confirmation from people to let me know if they can hear me because I'm going to be saying some things here that you guys would need so much. So I need just one person to confirm to me that we can hear you. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to be showing you guys what we are going to be working on today. I know some of you already know what the design looks like, but for those of you that don't know, I'm going to share it with you. Okay, so this is it here. I wish I can share my screen. What's going on here? Let's see. I want to share my screen. Why is that showing over? Okay. Share my screen. Okay, so this is what we're going to be working on today. And so let's go straight to Photoshop and start work on the training, on the tutorial. So I'm going to open Photoshop now. Or you know what? Maybe I should just share the tutorial with you guys.
All right, guys. Please bear with us a little. Caesar Graphics is trying to set up his audio connections for his tutorial. He's going to be coming up right away. He's with us. He's just trying to set up 1 or 2 audio connections. He's going to be with us shortly. So just bear with us. Just 1 or 2 technical hitches. I want to promise you that this is going to be a tutorial session we will all enjoy. Caesar Graphics, over to you, sir. All right, we can't hear your audio at the moment, the audio from the mic. So everybody just bear with us. We can see that we have a lot of people here for this session. It's just 1 or 2 technical glitches. He has run some test runs earlier, but just a little glitch, so we can have a beautiful experience. And for those that are with us too, I also want to assure you that this session is being recorded. So we're going to be emailing this session to everybody that has joined today. So we're going to be emailing this session to everybody that has joined today. And with Caesar's permission, we would also be sending some of the images and material he's using for the session, the images and material, so that you can also practice on your own. Please bear with us. I think he's just having an audio connection issue. His studio setup switches between his mic audio and his system audio. So just trying to perfect that. So once it does that, we're going to be getting back online shortly. Please just bear with us. And you can also share these links, the link of this training, with other friends too. That has to be here, because I know a lot of us follow Caesar Graphics on social media, and we see all the beautiful tutorials that he puts up there. So this is an opportunity for us to have a first-hand experience with him. Thank you very much for your patience.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can. We can hear you loud and clear, sir.
What about the voice from the tutorial?
We're not hearing the voice from the tutorial earlier when you were playing it. We're not hearing it earlier. You know, you sent me a personal message if we were hearing the voice from the tutorial, but we're not hearing it earlier.
So you can't still hear it now, ba?
No, we can't hear it now. We can only see you, and we can only hear the sound from your mic.
Oh, I see.
Yes,
Please,
so
I'm sorry. I'm gonna make sure I fix this, guys. Pardon me. I'll make sure you guys enjoyed this. Okay, please.
Yes, sir.
And this is what I was trying to avoid. Okay, let's see. Let's see. I'll put audio to USB. Okay. So speaker. So, okay, so
all right, so when you share screen, you might need to share sound also on Zoom.
oh, am I supposed to do that?
Yes. So when you're sharing screen or you're sharing a video, you have to select share sound at the bottom. So if you're sharing a video on Zoom, let's say you want to play a tutorial video, there's a checkbox at the bottom left that will say share sound. So you have to check it.
Oh.
Yes, sir. So let's say you want to play a video from VLC and you're sharing that video. At the bottom, you see a checkbox that will say share sound. So when you click that share sound, it will share the video and the sound. So,
oh, I see.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's give it a Try
All right.
again.
Okay, sir.
So I'm sharing the screen now.
Yes, then you say checkbox at the bottom. That will say share sound.
Okay, let's see now.
Picture of our character
We are hearing you
Can
now,
you
because
sir.
hear me now?
we need to take
Oh.
out some
Yes, sir, we can hear you now, sir.
information
Thank you,
from
Mr.
her.
Demola.
You're
Thank you
So
so
I'm
much.
going to create a new layer. I'll call this
So
black.
let me just start from the beginning.
Okay,
So,
and
but
Alright,
please,
boss.
guys, I'm so sorry for delaying you, wasting your time. I'm not really used to Zoom, okay, and as you can see, Mr. Demola is the one that helped me out here. And then, why I decided to do the recording of this tutorial is because I know that if I do a live video with you guys, it's going to make me spend so much time doing the tutorial for you guys, and I don't want you guys to exhaust your data, and that's the reason why I did the recording and then make it in such a way that it will be shorter for you guys to enjoy it and not exhaust your data. Okay, thank you. So let's go back to the tutorial.
Okay, so let's create a new document. So I'm going to click on File and I'll select New. So for this project, I'm going to be using the 1280 by 720 because it's possible I'm going to be uploading this on my YouTube channel. And I'm going to call this Coffee Smoke. All right, and I'm going to leave every other settings the way they are, and I'm going to select Create. So the first thing I'm going to do is to bring in the picture of our character because we need to take out some information from her. So I'm going to create a new layer. I'll call this black. Okay, and this layer should be behind the layer of our character, and I'm going to choose black here, and I'll use Alt Backspace to apply the color to my black layer. Now I'm going to select the channels tab. So it's possible you're not going to see the channels tab on your Photoshop application. So if you don't, simply go to Windows and select channels here. So once you click on it, you'll see it next to your layer tab. Now what we're going to do here now is we need to take out the mid-tone from our character. So to do that, now these are the three colors that made the image. So from these three colors, we need to look for the mid-tone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the red. So once I click on the red, you see the contrast on this is too much, so we don't need this. So for the green, now we have less contrast, but it's still not looking like what we want. So the blue is perfect. So I'm going to make a copy of the blue by dragging and dropping the new layer icon like so. And if I zoom in now, you'll see that we have this highlight, mid-tone and shadow on the image of our character. So what I'm going to do is we need to split this. So we're going to reduce the mid-tone and then make the shadow and the highlight more stronger. So to do that, I'm going to go to Image, Adjustment, and I'll select Levels here on the blue copy layer that we just created. And I'm going to move the mid-tone close to the highlights. Now you see we're beginning to have less mid-tone on the image of our character. And I'm going to move the shadow in like so, increase the highlights. All right, let's just move the mid-tone a little bit. And I think this is good, and I'm going to select OK. So I'm going to hold on Control and click, and now you see we have the marquee on the highlight of our character. And I'm going to go to the layer tab now, and I'll create a new layer, and I'll call this character light. So I'm going to fill this with white, so I'm going to come here and choose white here, and I'll hit OK, and I'm going to hold on Alt and click to apply the white color to the layer. So I'm going to hit Ctrl D on my keyboard to deselect the marquee. So I'm going to hide this, and we need to move this to our project. So I'm going to drag this and drop here like so. Now the reason why we can't see this is because the color of our character is white and our background is white. So I'm going to create a new layer, and I'll call this black. Okay, so I'm going to hit D on my keyboard to change the color of my foreground to black, and I'll hold Alt and click to make this black color. So I'm going to drag this behind the layer of my character, and I'll right click on the layer of my character and convert this to a smart object, and I'll bring out the free transform, and we need to zoom in so we can see what we're doing. So I'm going to scale this down a little. So I'm going to make a copy of this. All right, so I'm going to call this one Inner Glow. Okay, so I'm going to make a copy of this, and this should be above the character light layer, and I'm going to reduce the fill of this. I'm going to go to effect button here and I'll select inner glow. Right, so I'm going to increase my inner glow just like so. Okay, and let's just increase the opacity a little bit, and I'm going to select OK. So next is to go to filter, blur, and select Gaussian blur. So I'm going to leave the setting the way it is. I'm going to leave it as 1.5. All right, and I'm going to select OK. And I'm going to merge visible of these two layers. So I'm going to hold on Shift and select the black copy layer, and I'm going to select Ctrl E on my keyboard to merge visible of the layers, and I'm going to hide it. So next is the character light layer. So I'm going to make a copy of this again, and I'm going to hide this, and I'm going to call this one oil. Okay, so this should be about this, and I'm going to merge visible of the two layers and hit Ctrl E, because if we don't merge the two layers together, we won't be able to use the oil paint filter on the layer. So I'm going to go to filter and I'm going to select stylize, select oil paint. So I'm going to make my stylization 1.9 and my cleanliness should be 0.5. Scale is going to be 0.8. Bristol is going to be 10.0. Now, if this is the first time you're using this filter, it's possible that your lightning is going to be checked. So I would advise you turn it off, because lightning is going to add texture to the project like the way I have it now on my screen. All right, so you need to turn it off. All right, and I'm going to select OK. So I'll make this visible, and I'm going to change this to screen just like so, and I'll put the two layers in a group. So I'll call this character, all right, and I'll reduce the opacity just a little. Now I need to make this black, so I'm going to hold Alt and click backspace to make a black color. So it's time for us to start adding our smoke. So I'm going to hold on Alt and click, and then I'm going to call this smoke. So I held on Alt and click on the new layer icon to have this, and I'm going to hit OK. So let's select the brush tool. In the exercise file, there's a Photoshop brush set. So I'm going to teach you guys how to add the brush set to your Photoshop. So I'm going to click on this arrow facing down, and I'm going to click on the gear icon here, and I'm going to select import brushes. So this is the brush right here. So you can always locate the exercise file on your system and then click on the brush and click load. But because I already have it loaded in my Photoshop, there's no need for me doing it anymore. So I'm just going to hide this, and I'll start with this type of brush, which is the brush 7164, and I'm going to reduce the size of my brush, and I'm just going to add the brush to my character. So I need to rotate the brush to face the angle that I want. So I'm going to add something here. So the reason why the brush is not visible is because my foreground color is set to black, so I need to switch it to white. So I'm going to click on this icon, and I'm going to click. So I'm going to reduce the opacity just a little, and I'm going to increase the size of the brush, and I'm going to rotate it again, and I'll rotate it. I'm just going to add it so here, like so, and I'll make a new layer, and I'm going to make this smaller, just like so, and I'm just going to do it this way. Rotate it. Click. All right. Make a new layer, and just gonna make this bigger. Click again. Make it smaller. Rotate it. And click here, and I'm gonna make a new layer again. This time I'm gonna rotate it again, and and make this bigger. And click, add the brush somewhere here. So I'll push this down. So it's time for us to start playing with the brush, but before I do that, I still need to add the brush to this side of the project. So I'm just going to rotate it again and just going to add it somewhere around here, just like so. So I'll put everything in a group. Now reduce the opacity just like so. All right, and I'm going to add a layer mask. Okay, so we need to give our layer a name. So I'm going to brush and make sure you are on the layer mask of the layer, and I'm going to just take out some something here. So I'm going to switch to white so as to add the brush to some parts of my character, like so. Switch to black again. So pick it up from here. You know what? I'm gonna go straight inside the group folder of the smoke, and I'll create a new layer again, and I'll call the smoke again. And I think I still need to add more smoke, right? So I'm gonna do the size of the brush, take this, just put something around here. So good. So just going to take this out. Right. So I'm going to put the two layers in a group, and I'm going to hold on Shift and click and hit Ctrl G on my keyboard. Call the smoke plus character. So I'll add a layer mask, and I'm going to take out some part of my character like so. Right. So I'm going to bring the picture of the coffee cup, drag and drop here, like so. And you know what? We still need to scale this. So I'm going to make it bigger a little bit. Position it here, like so. Position this here. And I'm going to create a new layer again. I'm going to call this smoke again. Select the brush tool, and this time I'm still going to use the same brush again. I'm going to rotate this, rotate it. So we'll make this bigger and just click once, like so. All right. And I'm going to select the brush tool again. I'm going to make a new layer again, and I'm going to use this type of brush. And I'm going to rotate this again, and this somewhere around here, just like so. Okay, and I'm going to add a layer mask for this. Select the sunburn brush, and I'm going to increase the size of my brush. I'm just going to take out the smoke from here. So let's see, This one needs to go off, like so. Okay. Yeah, this is good. So I'm gonna hide the coffee cup now. And so the next thing we're gonna do now is to take this to liquefy and make the smoke effect look more real. So I'm going to make visible of all the layers by holding Ctrl Shift Alt and E on my keyboard. And I'll go to filter, I'll select liquefy. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom in and I'm gonna increase the size of my brush. And I'm gonna put this side down, just like so. Beautiful. And I'm gonna make this side go in, because the size of my brush, I'll make it go in, like so. Just to go in. And this side, I need to push it in also. So I'm gonna take this in. So I'll push this side out. So I'm gonna hit OK. And we have this. I'm gonna create a new layer. So I'm gonna hide every other layer, like so. And I'm gonna create a new layer. And I'll call this brown dark. So I'm gonna click here and change the color of my foreground to 6F2C09, and I'm gonna click OK. So I'm gonna switch from background to foreground again, and I'll click here and I'm going to change this to 431003. So I'm gonna hit OK. So I'm going to apply the color of my foreground to the brown dark layer. So I'm going to use Alt Backspace to do that. And I'm going to make the layer of the smoke effect with the lady visible. So I'm going to call this character plus smoke. So I'm going to change my blend mode to screen. All right. So if I zoom out now, you see what we have. So we need to reduce the opacity a little bit, like so. So I'm going to make a new layer again, and I'll call this light brown. Enter. So let's switch to like the light brown now. I'm going to select the brush tool, increase the size of my brush, and I'll click. Now I know some of you are like, okay, Caesar, why didn't you use the gradient tool to do this? So the reason why I don't use the gradient tool is because I always like to change the size of my glow independently. Let me show you what I'm saying. So if I bring out the free transform now, you see I can always change my glow to any size that I want. So I can show this here, and now this is good. So I'm going to reduce the opacity of the character and the smoke a little, just like so. Now you see we're beginning to see some smoke effects that are not supposed to be where they are. So I'm going to add a layer mask, and I'm going to select the brush tool, use the size of my brush, and I'm just going to take out some of the smoke from the projects, like so. Okay, so this is good. Enable. Take out some part of the smoke effect from here, so as to make it look more real. Okay, so we can switch to white and make this visible, black again, and just take it out, like so. So I'm going to look for the coffee cup, which is this. I'm going to make it visible, and I'm going to create a new layer again. I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to call the smoke. So I'm going to select the brush tool. I'm going to select this type of smoke. So I'm going to rotate this and position this here, like so. And I am going to click. Make sure this is set to white. All right. And I'm just going to click once, like so. And I'll make a copy of this. I'll bring out the free transform, right click and flip this horizontal and position this somewhere here and even rotate it like so. Okay, let's show this here. So I need to make this a little bit visible. It's too, yeah, so this is good. Okay, so this is it. So I'm going to hide the layer mask. Let's hide this so it has to be able to see the adjustment we're making on the smoke layer. So I'm going to select the brush tool and make sure you are on the soft round brush. So I'm just going to take out some part of the smoke like so. Can even do the same thing here. You know what? We'll treat that later. So I'm going to make this visible. So for this one, I'll bring out the free transform again, and I'm just going to position this here, right click and select warp. And I'm just going to push this here like so. Okay, it should be here like so. Okay, and I'm going to hit enter. So I'll add a layer mask again, and I'm just going to take out some part of the layer. So I'll put the two layer in a group and I'll call this smoke again. And I'm just going to add a layer mask again and, you know, just randomly take out some parts of the brush or the smoke from the layer. So I'm just going to take this one out like so. So just do that. This one is to take out like so. Okay, do the same thing here. Okay, let's see. Okay, so this is good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the pen tool and I'm just gonna draw a path so as to take out some of those smoke from the layer, and I'm going to hit Control Enter, and I'll fill this with black, which is the color of my foreground. To take that out, let's see. So for this side, I'm just going to select the brush tool, increase the size of my brush, and I'm just going to take out this because we don't need it. All right, so I'm taking out some part of the smoke from the layer like so. So I think this smoke here is not good, so we need to just, you know, dial that down a little so as to make it look more real. Okay, voila. And let's create a vignette. So I'm going to go to the adjustment tab now, and I'm going to select the curve adjustment, and I'll push this down. So I'll hit Control I on my keyboard to reverse the mask, and I'm going to select the brush tool, and I'm going to make sure I'm on the soft round brush, and I'm just gonna, so then I'll switch this to white, and I'm just gonna brush like so. Right, so the advantage of doing this is so as to create what I call focal points. All right, so as to make people's attention be on our character with the smoke effects. So remove this here. Actually, the ruler is not part of the plan, so I'm going to move this back in because it's not part of the plan. So I'm just going to move this back by the brush, and we have this. So I think this side of the project still needs some little tweaking. So I'm going to select the layer mask of the character and the smoke, and I'm going to increase the size of my brush, and I'm just going to take out some part of the layer just like so. Let me just come back, do the same thing to this one here. So I'm going to switch to black, and I'm just going to take out some part here. You know what? Let's just go back to the Lookify. And I think I still need to push this side down. Down. So okay. And I'm gonna create a new layer. Okay, so I'm gonna pick. Okay, let's see what this is gonna give us. So I'm gonna use this type of smoke. All right, so I'm gonna add a layer mask. I'm gonna select the brush tool, select the soft round brush, and I'm going to take out this part of smoke out of the project, like so. Just do the same thing here, like so. So I'm gonna reduce the opacity just a little, and I'm gonna select the brush tool again, choose type of brush. And I'm gonna make a new layer, and this time I'm just gonna click again. Let's see if I hide this. I think this one is better, so I'm gonna add a layer mask again, and I'm just gonna take out this side of the brush, like so. To the brush tool. Call this brush again. Rotate this. So quick. Okay. So I'm gonna add a layer mask to this. I'm gonna blend this. Bring out the free transform. Just gonna scale this B like so. So I'm gonna select the brush tool again. I'm just gonna take out some parts of that brush from the layer. So I'm gonna add the last file to the project. So I'm gonna drag that and drop here, like so, and I'm gonna rotate this, make it bigger, and this should be above the layer of the glow. And I'm going to change this to soft lights. Then I'm going to reduce the opacity. All right, and zoom in. I'll go to filter, blur, and select Gaussian blur. And I'm going to make this go down a little bit. And yeah, so I think this is good, and I'm going to stop right here.
All right, so that's the end of the tutorial, and I hope you all enjoyed it. And if there's any parts where you're having issue, with the tutorial, maybe you can ask me and I will answer you. So do we have any question? I believe you guys can still hear me. Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, so
Loud and clear.
so please, if there's any part where you guys are finding it difficult to get the move that I made, please, you're free to ask question, and I'll answer you. And I believe that's one good advantage of doing this, because I know most time when I post my tutorials on YouTube like that, people don't always have that opportunity to ask me question after the tutorial. So you are free to ask questions and I'll answer you. Anybody? Okay. So I think we have any questions. So Mr. Demola, I think you should take it over. Hello. Hello, Mr. Demola, are you still there?
All right. Okay, I'm here, boss. Sorry about that. Okay.
So
So do we have any questions? Anybody? So someone is asking a question, basically, Mr. David. David is asking that, can I use Camera Raw filter to do vignettes instead of the manual one?
Oh, yes, you can. But the reason why I did not use Camera Raw, I know that most of us are not really used to doing research. If you are a graphics person, you are not just you are different from every other people who is carrying computer up and down. Your job is to make sure you do research, and then you have to read. You know, those are the things that will make you stand out in this field. Yeah.
Thank you so much for answering that question. So David is asking basically, how do you approach a particular brief? So let's say a particular brief is given to you. What are your step-by-step approach to deciphering and disseminating the brief?
Okay, so
taking it from brief to concept.
Okay, so the first thing I do is I don't go straight to my workstation. I have a digital workstation and I have a workstation. My digital workstation is behind this camera, all right? And there's nothing there. The only thing you see on it, if it's not that I set up my camera in front of it, is just maybe I should even show you guys. Although what I'm about to show you is looking rough, but that's my digital workstation, this guy here. All right, can you see? So this is my drawing book. So before I get to my PC, I first draw out my concept on a paper. And when I'm satisfied with the drawing, and then I go to my workstation to bring that image to something that people will see. Now, when I draw my concept on a paper, most time it's not always perfect. But the good thing is that I already have a picture of what I want to do in my head. So when I get to my PC, making those things, my drawing come to life is going to be easier. In fact, at times I always have the opportunity to add some other things that will even boost the look of the project. One good example is this tutorial that I just did for you guys. When I did the sketch on the paper, it wasn't as perfect as this. And I know most designers always think, okay, am I supposed to be an artist before I will be able to draw on a paper? No. Most time when I draw, I'm sure most of us are used to, we know all this childish drawing where you just draw the head, you draw the head in form of a circle, and then you draw the line, and you have the hand in form of a stick and the leg. I do that a lot. But the good thing is that I already have a picture of what the end result should look like in my head. And I'm telling you, if you try this thing I just explained to you guys, doing design is going to be very easy for you. And most of us don't always have that time. What we always think of is, okay, let me go online, search for somebody's design, and see what I can steal from it. Yes, that's also part of it. But the one that will help you come up with good design, good concept faster is when you have your manual workstation. Now, your manual workstation doesn't have to be like mine. In fact, there are times I don't even do this in my studio, that I sit in my sitting room and then I you know, put my notes, my drawing book on my stool, and I'll start drawing. Or at times I go to fast food. In fact, fast food is one place where you can do good drawing, because at the time you are thinking of the concept to come up with, somebody will just come inside the fast food with one round neck with one funny drawing on it, and then you can just pick that concept from the round neck. I do this a lot. In fact, there are times when I'll be on my way to maybe a family, maybe my family's house, and I'll just see somebody walk past me, and the concept that I need to come up with, the design I want to do, will just come up from the person's dress or outfit. And at times it's not that I will see the exact design, but it's possible the color, or maybe the way they draw the artwork on the person's outfit is what I will just pick, and then convert it to my own style, and the design will look unique. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for your answer, sir. It was very explicit and expository. So I noticed that Kudirat raised up her hand that she wants to ask you a question. So Kudirat, I'm going to ask you to turn on your mic so you can ask your question directly to Mr. Caesar. So Kudirat, I'm giving you the floor to ask your question. If you have any question that you want to ask Mr. Caesar directly, you can raise up your hand. I'm going to give you permission to ask those questions to him directly. So Kudirat, I'm opening the floor over to you so you can ask him questions directly. Can you do that right away? Kudirat. Kudirat, you can unmute your mic right away and ask Mr. Caesar a question.
Hello.
All right, so Kudirat, you have the
Hi,
floor.
Kudirat. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
All right, we're finding it difficult to hear you.
I find it difficult to hear.
All right, Kudirat, we're so sorry, we're finding it difficult to hear you. Okay, no problem, Kudirat. Can you do something? Just try and work on your network. Raise up your hand once it's sorted out, and I'll bring you back in. Is that okay? So David, I'm giving you the platform to ask Mr. Caesar creative questions right away. So get ready to turn your mic. So David, you have the floor. So David, can you ask him questions directly? All right, David, you have the floor. Kudirat, I'll come back to you after David. All right, David, you have the floor. Hello, Mr. David, we can't hear you. So if anybody have any question, while Mr. David is getting ready his mic, you can just raise up your hand. I'm going to give you the floor to ask questions. So Mr. David, once you're up, just say something. So another question that someone is asking Mr. Caesar is that how do you handle clients that require speed? How do you handle clients that require speed? So when a client gives you a brief and it's an urgent brief, we know we have cases whereby we have control of our time, but there are some cases where probably an existing client that has been patient with you in the past, but this time is like, okay, Caesar, sorry, this is brief, we have to knock it out at a short period of time, and I'm ready to pay any amount for that. So minimum money is not a problem. So how do you handle such clients, especially when you have other briefs on your table, sir? What's your wisdom?
This is one very good question that I always face a lot, and this is how I always tackle it whenever it comes. So number one, I'll start with the money part. When it comes to urgent design, I charge very high. Okay, and by the time I'm done with the project, it always happens to be that the client is going to be the one to do the design. All right, they will be the one to come up with the concept. My own job is just to show them the picture. So what I do is, okay, so I tell them I understand that the design is something you need very urgent. So what I'll do is I ask them questions. What is this design going to do? What's the message behind this? So once they give me the message behind it, then what I'll just do is once I've gotten all the information I need from them, then that will now help me come up with design for them fast. But there are times when clients call for such requests that what they need is something you can't do immediately. The good thing is don't take it, okay? Because you're taking it may end up becoming something that you just waste the time that you spend on that job, that the clients may end up saying, sorry, we can't use it. It's not really looking like what I want. In fact, most time when we get urgent job like this, let me say 60%, 60% of them they always reject it. Because at that point, what you are trying to do is to make sure that you meet the time that the client needs it, and you won't be able to see some errors that you can tweak to make the project look attractive to the eye. So the ones that you know that will suck you, or the client is saying, I don't have any image right now, you just flow. I don't take such job. Because at the end of the day, you end up wasting your time on that project and they won't approve it. So what I do is when I ask you a question and you are ready to answer me, it means you need the job urgently and you are helping me to get back to you on time. But if you're saying, I don't have anything for now, just flow, I'm telling you, the client will reject the job and you will end up wasting your time and they won't even want to pay you for it. So although there are times when I get that call of I don't have anything in mind, just flow, what I do is I get upfront payment. My upfront payment is going to be closer to the actual amount of the project, that even if they did not approve it, I know I didn't lose. So that's how I do it.
All right, okay, fantastic. So please, if you have any question and you want to ask Caesar directly, just raise up your hands and I'm going to give you permission while I attend to other questions of people here. We are already rounding up. We've taken a lot of time from Mr. Caesar, and I know that he has other projects that he wants to handle. Thank you so much.
No, today is for the hub.
Okay, fantastic.
Drive up. So I've put so many
fantastic.
But what I just want to know is, please, I don't know if they all get the tutorial, if they find it easy to understand, because my intention was I thought people were going to ask if they have anything that they...
All right, so if you have any questions concerning the tutorial, any sections that you don't understand,
they should.
Please, that's why I'm giving everybody access to talk, so you can actually talk to him directly if you have any questions, so that you don't, some people cannot communicate via chat. So David, we're opening the floor for you again, because you're raising up your hand. Any question concerning the tutorial or any other thing? David?
Yeah, any other thing related to graphic design.
Yes, please, related to graphics design. All right, David, you have the floor now. All right, David, we're not hearing you again.
Good afternoon, sir.
All right, you're up.
Hi, David.
Good afternoon, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Loud and clear, David.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you, sir, for the tutorial, and thank you, sir, for being on Drive Conference. It's an honor to meet you, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And
David.
my question is this: when did you realize that you wanted to do graphic design? Did you get that, sir?
Yes, I do. All right, this is the first time I'm hearing this question. Okay, so okay, so maybe I should just start with how I started, and maybe that will now push.
Can't really hear you, sir.
Can you hear me?
I can't really hear you, sir.
David, can you hear me? But Mr. Demola, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
So David, I think the network
your network is maybe it's fluctuating or something. Okay, but let me just answer that question so as to save time. So actually my intention was to go into web design. All right, but I had a book then that I was reading. It's as big as from here to this. All
Let
right,
me
so
guess,
I
it was on
got-
HTML, right?
Yes,
HTML,
yes, it was on
HTML.
HTML. but one funny thing about
Those books were big back in the days.
I'm telling you,
Those HTML books.
in fact, it got to a point. I read that book to the point. I've almost finished the book before my brother called me and said there's somebody that he told my story, and the person is willing to help me. So, but inside that book, there's a Photoshop part inside. In fact, Photoshop in that book took almost it's close to half of the book, and I was like, so what has this Photoshop thing got to do with web design? So inside the book, why they put Photoshop there was to teach us how to create buttons. If I didn't even know that I can use Photoshop to do all these photo manipulation and all those things. But back then, my brother always see me play with my system, but he doesn't understand what I was doing there. In his own head, he was thinking, okay, what I was doing was graphics. So he told someone about me that, okay, I have a brother who is so much interested in learning this that I needed to help me teach him. I'm someone who already love creating things that will pass messages to people, and that's even one of the reasons why I want to go into web design there, because my intention was to have a website where people will be uploading their events. That was even before Facebook. Oh. People will be uploading their events, and people they'll just send the link to people and they'll watch their past events. And when I got to that man's place, he now asked me that how many companies in Nigeria now, back then, are willing to pay for web design, and then it was few. So he said, guy, you know what, let's move into, let me teach you what will fetch you money. So he was one that introduced me to graphic design. But back then we were professional CorelDRAW users. And one day he showed me one of his friends' artwork that the guy did. He converted somebody's picture to something else. And I was like, how did they do this? So he told me it was Photoshop. And I was like, it was that same Photoshop that I was learning on how to create button for website. And he said, that application can be used for so many things. So I decided to go into it and start learning how to use Photoshop. So why I decided to go into it fully again is because I'm someone who fall in love with creating something that people will see and will pass a message to them, like entertaining people with a picture that will make them get a message without even reading the information on the poster or the printouts. So that's the reason why I decided to go into it. I don't know if I answered David's
Thank you,
question.
sir.
Did I answer
Yes,
your
sir.
question? All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. So do we still have questions?
All right, great. So Jolayemi is actually asking a question. So what Jolayemi is asking is that, as an upcoming designer, what am I to do? What am I going to do to be more creative? Jolayemi, if you want to ask Mr. Caesar other questions personally, just raise up your hand. For those that are just coming in right now, I notice some other people are coming in. We're in a Q&A session. So if you want to ask him a question personally, raise up your hand. I'm going to give you an opportunity. All right. So Jolayemi is raising up her hand. So I'm going to be allowing her to come in because she's been asking questions in a lot of our sessions. So that's why I actually want to give her the opportunity. Almost all our sessions has been asking a question. So Jolayemi, you have the floor right now to ask Mr. Caesar a question personally. So you unmute your mic, then ask him a question personally. Jolayemi. Unmute your mic. Unmute your mic, Jolayemi. Okay, so you have the floor now, Jolayemi. All right, Jolayemi, your mic is talking, but we can't hear you. It's showing us a read, but we cannot hear you. All right, okay, so Chan, work on your audio, Jolayemi, while Mr. Caesar answers.
Hello, sir.
Hi. I can't hear you.
So I think it's a network problem.
Okay, so maybe I should just answer his question. He
Answer
said,
his question.
As an upcoming artist, what can he do to be
More creative, exactly.
creative? Okay, so my answer is not going to be different from what I said earlier, which is hello?
No, don't worry, you can continue, sir.
Okay, so it's not going to be different from what I said earlier, that as a designer, all right, in fact, I've said this before in one of my online training, that as a designer, the day you decide to go into this business is not different from the way you sign into any school. You know, when you're in school, you can't just be going for lectures without writing exam. No, you can't write exam without studying. So if you're a designer, you need to learn the habit of studying, doing research. Now, the research part is for you to know what exactly is in vogue. So one lucky thing that we today designers are enjoying is the internet. So it's easy for you to go online now. I mean, we have so many websites that you can, go to that will help you grow as a designer. And one other thing again is, I notice most of us, we designers, make this mistake. If you check, let's say 70% of Nigerian designers are following mixture of family, friends, musical artists, and so on Instagram. Now, I'm not against you following them, but if they don't have anything they are adding to your creativity, I would advise you unfollow them. At this point, if you are into graphic design, you need to move yourself close to people who have something you can steal from, people who have things that can add value to your creativity. So if you want to grow as a designer, move more closer to people that will help you. Okay? Watch tutorials, make yourself a researcher where when you see a design, get a pen and a paper and write down the things that made the design successful. The more you do this, the more you grow as a designer. So I think that's the answer. That's my answer to that question.
All right. Okay. Fantastic. So we have. So I'm going to be taking 2 more questions, and we're going to be rounding up this session. I'm going to be taking 2 more questions, and we'll be rounding up this session. So an anonymous person asked basically that, how do you bridge the gap between your concept drawn and the level of expertise you have on the software? Oh, Jolayemi, you have your mic is on right now. I think I still gave you the floor. Are you ready to talk, Jolayemi? Okay, so I'm going to be disabling you from talking right now. Okay, so and just 2 more questions, then we'll round up this. How do you bridge the gap between the concept drawn and your level of expertise on a particular software, right? Talking about someone who is not too good with Photoshop. So meaning I have an idea in my head, but my expertise cannot bring out that concept in my head into reality. So for example, let's say somebody having the idea of what he just showed us right now in his head, but he doesn't know how to do those manipulations. So how do you bridge that gap?
Okay, so in fact, I pray that this opportunity of this type of conference should continue, because some of the things I'm going to be sharing here are things that I'm sure that if you do them, you won't regret it. And the reason I'm saying this is because of the question that this person asked. Okay, now I'm going to be giving you guys this little secret. Okay, now before you go into graphic design, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but your video is off.
My camera is off.
Yes, sir.
let's see. Okay, so before you, I'm sorry, I'm trying to see if I can turn on my camera.
All right, no problem, sir.
Can you see me now?
Yes, we can see you now, right
Okay,
now,
so
sir.
before you go into graphic design, all right, now I'm going somewhere because this is going to now take us to the answer to that question. Before you go into graphic design, you need to know the type of design that you like to do. All right, know your type of design. When I started graphic design, I started with CorelDRAW, but I remember very well that back then, CorelDRAW is not always giving me the type of design I want to do. The only thing I enjoyed doing with CorelDRAW back then is to draw shape, put text, download background from the internet, and then put it on my project. So it's limiting that creativity part of me. Okay, not until when someone introduced me to, when I heard that Photoshop can also be used for doing design, and when I saw the design that someone did, I told the person that showed me that design back then that this is the type of design I like, and the person told me the application that was used to learn to do that project, and that made me go and learn how to use Photoshop very well. Now, I'm saying this is the reason why I'm saying this. When you draw a concept down, all right, before you draw that concept, I'm very much sure that there are some type of designs that normally catch your attention. So what you now need to do is you need to learn the application that you can use to achieve that type of design. Now, Photoshop is not the only application you can use to come up with good design. No. CorelDRAW is one of the applications you can use. Illustrator is another good application you can use. All right. So what you need to do is know the application that works best for you. So that application is now what you will now go and then learn how to use. That when you draw a concept down on a paper, then the application is what you will now use to achieve that concept. Now, don't think because I'm using Photoshop now, because I said I draw my concept on a sheet of paper and I now use Photoshop to turn it to what people will see. No. It doesn't mean because I use Photoshop now, you should now use Photoshop too. No. If let's say the only application I know how to use is Illustrator, I will still use Illustrator to achieve the same concept. But what I will now do is to now convert the smoke in a vector format where people will know, I'm sure you all know what how smoke normally look like in cartoon. So the cartoon type of smoke is what I will now use instead of this original type of this normal smoke view that we all know what it looks like that I use here. So that's how to do it. So check the application that you know how to use the most, then use the application to achieve the project. There are some people today that don't even use CorelDRAW Photoshop to do poster, and they are making it big. That the only thing they know how to use is Illustrator. I know somebody who I'm following online. His name is Sean Adams. In fact, it was one of the former coordinator of AIGA. He doesn't use Photoshop. He's a professional InDesign user, and he's using InDesign to create posters, and people know him for it. So what you need to do is know your type of know the type of design you want to do. My own type of design is creating movie posters, creating sport posters, and I know I can't achieve this with CorelDRAW or Illustrator, and that's why I decided to go into Photoshop and then learn more on how to do all those effects in Photoshop. And that's why you guys are saying this today. So know your type of application, know the type of designer you are. That okay, and this is how you know, because I know some of you are looking at me like, so how am I supposed to know the type of designer I'm supposed to be? So this is how you know. Go online, search for 10 or 6 designs. Or no, don't make it 6. Don't make the number balance. You can make it 7 or 5. Then put those designs down, then group them. The ones that look alike, put them into different groups. The one with the highest number is your type of designer. So that's the part you need to invest in, like you need to work on, that will make you
come up with good design, because I know most people today, why it looks as if they are not good designers is because some of them are not looking at their own part of their actual field. They are no field of being a good designer. They are looking at somebody else. They are looking at one Caesar Graphics that is using Photoshop to come up with good design, not knowing that they have their own type of designer. And some of you also are my type of the Caesar Graphics type of designer. But what you need to do is you need to learn how to use the application. That is the Photoshop that I use. And then you now need to start looking at how things are in real life, and they start using Photoshop to bring them into your project. But they must have a message that they pass. That message is what most people don't understand. That's passing that message to people. You don't just use the application because you don't just use the application because you don't just do design, excuse me, because you want people to know that you know how to use the shortcut, or want people to know you know how to use the tool. No, you do designs because you want to pass a message, and that's why it's not compulsory you know how to use all the tools before you can do good design. If it's just maybe 4 or 5 tools you know how to use, if those 5 tools will make you go through the steps that somebody who is a professional in that application will use just 1 step to achieve, if you will use like maybe 10 moves to achieve it, it doesn't matter. The main thing is making sure that people understand the message that you are trying to pass to them, and it's okay. So I think that's my answer to that question, but I wish the person can give me a sign to let me know that I answered this question. And if not, he can tell me what he's trying to say, so I can see I'll see if I can answer him.
All right. So unfortunately, the person is anonymous,
Okay.
basically. So we might not be able to understand that. So so thank you so much for your time. Sorry, Mr. Caesar. Are you getting me now? I was supposed to ask you one more question, but I just want to answer this second anonymous attendee. So after I answer that question, I will just ask the last question. Okpolo, I'm so sorry, we might not be able to take a question right now. Time has gone, basically. We've spent a lot of our time, so we need to round up this session. So I'll just ask this anonymous question on the chat group. Then I'll ask you just one more question. The question has to do with how can we get this video, basically, as in this content. So I'm going to ask you that. But before I do, I want to just answer this anonymous question, which is a question we get a lot in the industry, you understand, from students and proteges. And I think it's a question you need to answer. How do you charge price range? And how do you source paying clients? So it's a question that you agree with, like I see you smiling, that we get that a lot. You understand that how do you charge price range, and how do you source paying client? Now, this paying clients part is a 2-part question. I see a lot of young designers asking that question because they see Caesar Creative always getting job, Mr. Demola always getting job, but they are finding it difficult. Do you get job? And Mr. Caesar will be saying that I'm always very busy. And they'll be like, Mr. Caesar is just being proud that I have not been getting job for the past 2 weeks, but you are like busy like 247. Yeah. So I understand where he's coming from. So 2 questions: how do you charge as regards your price range? The second question: how do you source for paying clients? So once you answer that, because it's an important question, I'll just ask you the last question, then we are done. So guys, we are running up as Mr. Caesar takes this question.
I wish all my group guys are here because they all asked the same question too, and I've been trying to I'm actually working on an online webinar for designers to answer this question. Okay, so in fact, this is a very good question, and I know that this is one of the reasons why most people decided to go into graphic design. So this is how I charge. Before I even go to how I charge, before you start charging people as a designer, you need to first of all check yourself. Okay? You don't just, and that's why I always, in fact, somebody have called me before to ask that, Mr. Caesar, please, I'm calling to know if you are asked. In fact, a lot of people, they call me a lot to say, if I have to do this type of project, how much are you going to charge for it? And I tell them this, that, see, my charges may not go with your own charges, of which the way I look at projects before I charge is different from the way you look at projects before you charge people. And you need to be very careful with this so that you won't lose your clients. And at the end of the day, you start looking at me like a bad person.
So before you charge people, you need to first of all check yourself. Are you building a profile, or you're enough with the number of clients you have? Those are the two questions you will need to ask yourself. So if you are building your profile, you and I know that it means you are still under construction. So you are still trying to see, okay, if you are okay to the point where clients can start calling you for job. And let me tell you this, if you're building your profile, you know that you don't really have enough, it means you don't really have enough clients. So you are still trying to build your client base where people will be calling you for job. So at that point, you don't need to charge high. All right. You can just have a fixed price that you, if I remember when I started graphic design, because I know this one is going to shock so many people now. So when I started graphic design, I charge 3,000 naira. 3,000 naira for design. And
whoa, Mr. Caesar, are you serious?
yes, I charge 3,000 naira.
I find that difficult to believe, man.
It's true. I'm telling you, Mr. Demola. I charge 3,000 naira for design. And, you know, what now, I needed back then.
This will encourage some people, because some people, they will have hope that, okay, Mr. Caesar is charging 300K, 500K. I'm going to give you something.
No, it's not even up to that now. I charge 3,000. In fact, there are times where I charge 2,000. The highest I charge is 3,000. There are times I charge 1.5. So,
back in the days.
Wow. I'm telling you. So, but what I was trying to do then was, God is my witness. I'm not really after the money back then. No. What I'm after back then was, I want people to see what I can do. I need feedback from people. I want people to tell me, you didn't do this well. This is okay. I saw somebody do something like this. Can you just see if you can achieve something better back then? And there are even times when I don't even charge, that I just do free design, because I really want to get feedback from people. I really want to go in. I really want to grow in this business, because it's something I love to do. So, but when I now realized, this is when I started making my price go high. When I realized that the demand is now becoming too much, like people now started referring me to people, another person. People checked for me online, they called my number. Then I started making my prices, and this is how I charge when I have any projects. The cheapest I charge now for design is 10K. All right, the cheapest I charge now for design is 10,000, and this is what I do. I look at what it will take me to achieve the project. And there are times when I charge people 40,000 naira, I charge people 30,000 naira. So if the design is just something I'm just going to write text, all right, I don't charge that. I don't really charge much for that. But if it's something that I have to start drawing, like for example, this design I did the tutorial for you guys. If I'm to charge an organization for this, I will not take nothing no less than 70,000 to 75,000 naira for it, because yes, you may look at me like, but Caesar, we're all here when you did this tutorial. Now it's not something that took you time. You just click, and the whole thing just came to life. They won't look at it like that. Why? Because number one, the money I charge them will make them look at this like, this is going to take this guy serious work. And they won't even understand that it's still the same picture that I use, or it's still normal picture that I use. They will think it's something I drew and just, make things go around and then make it work. So why I'm saying this is this. You need to first of all position yourself to that level where when you are given a project to work on, what will come out from you is something that will be difficult from that client to see from another person. I've worked for so many people today that they left. They stopped giving me job because they think my charges are too high, but they later came back to me. All right. And the reason why they are back is because what I give to them is something that is difficult for them to see elsewhere. And that's the level where you need to put yourself before you start charging high. Don't just be a professional CorelDRAW user. Be a professional storyteller. Don't just be a professional Photoshop user. Be a professional storyteller. Don't just be a professional Illustrator user. Be a professional storyteller. If I don't be a professional Adobe user, because I know some of you are very good at using all the Adobe application. No, be a professional storyteller. If you tell story on your in your design project, I'm telling you, people will pay you high for it. In fact, I've come across someone who called me and said, before I even charge her, she said, I know your prices are going to be very high. I didn't even charge her, and she said it herself. I know your charges. And some people, it's not all the time I take upfront payment from clients. Now, don't copy me. You need to do this. Always get upfront payment because some clients will disturb you. But there was a time I went for a meeting and the boss of the organization told the staff to ask me for my upfront payment before I even left their office. So on my way going back home, they paid me upfront. So why I'm saying this is this: where you position yourself is where people will. That's where people will look at you. When you look at yourself cheap, people will make you cheap. So don't say because when you were doing the design, what you just did was you just clicked on the button and something happened. Then you will now think, I'm not supposed to charge high for this. No, don't do that. Your charging high is how much you think you deserve with all the skill you have in the business. How much skill, like how much will those skill worth? That's how to charge. Don't say because my sources are graphics tutorial on how to do this. Somebody else too would have watched the tutorial. So since Caesar gave me free of charge, so don't let me charge high. No, you charge high for it because the time you spent learning that thing is something worth paying for. So you need to charge high for it. So I'll repeat it. I'm going to recap again. Check yourself. Are you trying to build a profile?
All right, Mr. Caesar, we can't hear you right now. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you.
We
Hello?
can't hear you at the moment.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Hello?
Right, Mr.
Hello?
Caesar.
Hello?
Okay,
Can you
sorry,
hear me?
you can continue, sir. You can continue, sir. Sorry
Wow.
about that. I think it was from my end.
Where did you, hey, I've said a lot because.
No. I was hearing you. You just tripped off 1 second ago. So I thought it was from me. No, I heard everything you were saying about storytelling.
Okay, so you need
about
to
charge.
check
Continue,
yourself. So you need to check yourself. I'm sorry for spending much time on this because I know that most people. In fact, I've heard somebody say, "I don't think I can continue with this business because I'm not really enjoying the payment parts." Now, there's no business that you go into that doesn't have its own challenges. Okay. So the challenge that we face as designers is the money part. And please, designers, the fact that somebody is saying he or she cannot pay your bill does not mean somebody else cannot pay your bill. Okay? Don't sell yourself cheap. But make sure you help clients solve their design problem. And okay, don't let me jump to another answer, but I think I've answered that question. Please, I need that person's response to confirm if I hit the target of the question or not.
All right. So, sir, I think you basically did personally. So that was why I actually brought that. The person is anonymous. So that was why I actually brought up that question. I'm so sorry, Rosebud Print. The target of this session was supposed to end for 3 o'clock. That was our scheduled time, basically. That was our scheduled time. Okay. So that was our scheduled time, basically. So that's why I need to round up this session now. So Mr. Caesar, please, can you share with the house how we can pick up a copy of the video? Basically, what your plan is for that.
Okay, so all right. So I'm going to upload this on my YouTube channel. But see,
can you share that with us? Your YouTube channel.
Okay, so my YouTube channel is Caesar,
and your social media handle, so we can all follow you.
Okay, so my YouTube channel is Caesar Graphics. So it's the same name that I use for my Instagram handle. So I'm gonna put it here for you guys to see. So I'm gonna be I have tutorials on Photoshop for designers. Now, there are other applications that I use also, but I realized that the Photoshop part is where most designers always have issue. And that's why I'm trying to help you guys with posting tutorials online.
Now, I've also watched so many tutorials online where using Photoshop for, designs, but I realized that most people don't really do the design part of Photoshop. So, and that's why I decided to go into doing it. So I have lots of tutorials there for you guys to watch. And this is my, so I just dropped my YouTube channel name and my Instagram handle for you guys to check out my stuff.
All right, beautiful. Thank you so much for your time. Like I said, the scheduled time was supposed to end close to 3 o'clock.
Sorry,
so
Mr. Dam, sorry, I didn't
I'll
remember to answer the question. So the tutorial is going to be on my YouTube channel. I'm going to upload it, but it's possible it won't be today. All right, but I'll make sure I upload it next week for you guys.
All right, so please let's follow his social media handle. You'll see it there. But one thing I can assure you about Caesar Creative is that even though you don't get the one today, there are lots of numerous tutorials that you can basically follow, and you can also use to upgrade yourself that he does. He's one of the few Nigerians that I'm aware of that has a robust YouTube channel that will allow you grow in a short period of time. So please, let's all ensure that even I myself, as a designer, I still go through some of his tutorials just to get inspired and just to see one or two techniques. And I also basically watch his Instagram handle. You know, he mentioned something earlier. He said, as a designer, you need to follow some other designers to get inspired. So he's one of those handles that you just, when you have briefs to work on, you just flip through Instagram to get inspiration. So he's one of those people that just flip through his handle just to get inspiration from. So he's been a great inspiration to me personally. And please, I recommend that we all follow him also. There are also other artists abroad and also in Nigeria that I also follow too, basically where you can get inspiration for your projects, basically. So please, let's ensure we do that right away. So thank you so much, Mr. Caesar, for your time.
You're welcome.
Please, ahead of time, we are going to be locking you down for Drive Conference 2021. So please, we would appreciate you if you would leave the last Saturday in November 2021 free for us. Please help us mark it on your calendar. We're going to be bringing you back. That's November 27th, sir, to come and take another master class with us to prepare us for 2022. So please, we're telling you 1 year ahead of time to lock that date down. We're going to be bringing you on board. And this time, guys, we're going to be having a practical session with Caesar in a cinema.
I can wait. If I was actually thinking this year was going to be like that.
That was the plan. That was the plan.
I'm sure if we had made it look, and do it that way, I'm sure people would.
Exactly. So Mr. Caesar is going to bring his gadgets to our cinema hall. We're going to plug it up to a big mega screen, and he's going to do designs for us for 3 hours. I get to right now. So get ready for that next time. And you cannot ask him as many questions as possible, guys. So we're going to be bringing him on. And the reason why we created Drive Conference is that a lot of us see Caesar graphics on social media, on YouTube, or some of us even are on his community where we communicate with him. But sometimes when you have a one-on-one experience with artists, he's one of the most humble artists I've ever met in person. It boosts your morale, basically, that this my hustle and my night grinding is actually worth the while, basically. So please, we are locking you down for next year. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. Mr. Caesar, do you have any final word before I round up the session?
Okay, so so I'm just going to say to every one of us that don't allow whatever challenges that come our way to make us things are not working. Okay, there are times when things will not go the way you want it. Okay, and what I'll just say is, if you don't give up, believe me, the time will come that you just see things turning around for your good. So what you just need to do when things are not going the way you want it is watch what you say with your mouth at that point. Make good confession, say the positive things to yourself. The more you say it, the more it becomes part of you. And make sure that you are not idle. At that point when you're not doing anything, make sure at that point where nothing is coming in, make sure you are doing something. I remember when during the COVID-19 started, I'm a lazy person with my tutorials. But when COVID-19 started, when money was not really coming in, I made sure that
I'm doing things to help people. So, and today, in fact, the feedback I've been getting from people has really made me, believe that yes, there's nothing that we want to achieve in this life that we can't achieve. What we just need to do is to wait, and don't avoid sitting with people that will say things that will pull you down. At this point, in fact, what's going on all over the world now, currently, does not allow you and I to sit in the midst of the people who are pitying themselves, people who are saying things negative about their country. Yes, their country. Yeah, I know things are not really going well now, but don't sit in the midst of the people who say negative things. Sit with people that say positive things. So make sure that you pray, confess, and have faith. Please. So that's all I have to say. So, Mr. Demola.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Really appreciate your time with us. Like I said, we're supposed to end 3 o'clock. So we have 6 more minutes. So thank you guys for your time one more time. The next session is going to be starting by 5 o'clock. Mr. Caesar is coming back this evening. He's coming back this evening to come and handle the panelist session this evening. So please, he's coming to join the panelist session for 6 o'clock. But for 5 o'clock, we are having Mr. Brian Wilson, who is coming basically to come and teach on the animated storytelling in Africa and its emerging opportunities. So if you want to know how to write storytelling for animation or the animated industry, please, you need to join that session. It starts by 5 o'clock. Then by 6 o'clock, Mr. Caesar is coming with other creative professionals for a panelist session where we're going to be asking numerous questions, basically. Now, some of you ask questions while registering for this conference. So, and those questions are crazy, man. So those questions are going to be asked. So Mr. Caesar, please get ready. Tighten your seatbelt because there are going to be some awesome questions that are going to be coming up right on. So please, the next session starts by 5 o'clock. So please, let's all tune in for Mr. Brian. Mr. Brian Wilson has a master's degrees in 3D animation that he studied outside the shores of this country. And he's very enthusiastic about this session. He just chatted with me some few minutes ago, basically about this session. So please, you don't want to miss it. That's going to start by 5. Then by 6, we're going to have panelist session, Caesar Creative, Ariola of Tech on Code. We're going to be having Mr. Believe all the way from Abuja, who is going to be logging in. Then we have Partisco Graphics, who is going to be coming in also all the way from Ghana in this panelist session with us. Then Mr. Bisoye, who is an art director, is going to be moderating that session. So he is an art director that works for one of the top one of the top advertising agency in Nigeria. He will be moderating that session, basically not me. So he's going to be handling basically that session with us. So it's going to be a practical session. If you have any questions, please let us all bring that up. Anything you've learned in the sessions that we basically have today. So please, guys, thank you so much for your time once again. Thank you for being a part of Drive Conference. Like I said, this conference was designed to prepare us for 2021. That's why I'm bringing in thought leaders in both industries, both creative and tech. Now, if you notice that this Saturday session is more for creative professionals. So the Sunday session is for tech professionals. So Saturday, we are bringing back-to-back speakers to talk about 2D animation, graphic design, and also 3D animation, which is what the evening session we're going to have. Then we're not going to have a panelist session where you can ask any question. Any questions whatsoever. That's later this evening. Then tomorrow, we're now going into the tech world, where someone's going to be teaching us about machine learning, machine intelligence. Someone's going to be teaching us about what future of works. That's going to be happening tomorrow. I'm going to be giving you updates about that later tomorrow. Tomorrow's session starts by 2 o'clock. So please, the next session we're having today is by 5 p.m. Please ensure you don't miss it. With Mr. Brian Wilson. He's going to come and talk about animated storytelling in the African space. After which we'll be having a panelist session where Mr. Caesar Creative is coming back again. So if your question was not answered, Mr. Rosebud, please, sorry, I noticed you're raising your hand up. By the evening session, that's why we're bringing Caesar back again. We know people will still have some questions for him that we might not attend to. So we told him to come back and he has agreed. So we're bringing him back again this evening. So in those sessions, we'll allow you to raise up your hand and ask the panelists questions directly. So you can ask them questions directly and they will answer you. The reason why Drive Conference was created is to bridge the gap between professionals Are you getting what I'm saying right now? And aspiring as in top professionals in the industry to bridge that gap between us so that we can have one-on-one conversations with them to inspire, educate us, and also what take us towards greater heights. So thank you very much for this session. This session is supposed to end for 3 o'clock. We really appreciate you guys for staying through Drive Conference all through. We still have more in store for you. See you by 5 o'clock. Do have a lovely and wonderful time. And please ensure that you rest. God bless you.